But the women of today, if they attempt to do this, must be stoned to death. Mesopotamian Law Code, 2350 BCE. The male is by nature superior, and the female inferior. The one rules and the other is ruled. This principle of necessity extends to all mankind. Aristotle, 4th century BCE. Blessed art thou, O Lord our God and King of the universe, that thou didst not create me a woman. Orthodox Jewish prayer. Killing a woman, like the drinking of liquor, is only a minor offense. Hindu Code of Manu, 600 CE AD. If you care for a son, you don't go easy on his studies. If you care for a daughter, you don't go easy on her foot binding. Chinese saying. Men have authority over women because God has made one superior to the other. The Quran, 650 AD. The worst scoundrels of the town surrounded the house shouting, "Bring forth the man who has gone into your house for us to have intercourse with him." The owner of the house went outside them and said, "No, no, my friends, do nothing so wicked. This man is my guest. Here is my daughter, a virgin. Let me bring her out to you. Rape her and do what you please, but you shall not commit such an outrage against this Israelite." Judges 19. If the proof of her virginity is not found, then the men of the town shall bring forth the young woman to the door of her father's house, and they shall stone her to death, so you shall rid yourselves of this wickedness. Deuteronomy 22. Woman is the gate of the devil, the sting of the serpent. In a word, a perilous object. St. Jerome, 4th century. What else is woman but a foe to friendship, an inescapable punishment, a necessary evil, a natural temptation, a desirable calamity, a domestic danger, an evil of nature, painted in fair colors? Malleus Maleficarum by the Reverends Henrik Kramer and Jacob Sprenger. It was written in 1460 with the full support of Pope Innocent VIII, and it was the indispensable authority for 3 centuries of persecution throughout Europe. Another one from Malleus Maleficarum. All witchcraft comes from carnal lust. Which in woman is insatiable. Wherefore, for the sake of fulfilling their lust, they consort even with devils. The greatest injury to the faith are done by midwives, and this is made clear in the daylight itself by the confessions of some who are afterwards burned. What? Let her be often and frequently tortured. If being after fittingly tortured, she does not confess the truth, bring forth other engines of torture and tell her she will have to endure these if she does not confess. For it were 1,000 times better for the land if all witches, but especially the blessed witch, might suffer death. Malleus Maleficarum. Are you ready for this 1948 edition? This is the introduction. The 1948 edition of the Malleus Maleficarum. This is by the Reverend Montague Summers. Later writers, as great as they are, have done little more than draw from the seemingly inexhaustible wells of wisdom that the two Dominicans have given us in the Malleus Maleficarum. 1948. We do not find ourselves permitted by the word of God to advise a woman to leave her husband if he behaves roughly, nor if he uses threats against her, nor even if he beats her. We exhort her to bear with patience the cross which God has seen fit to place upon her. Calvin of Geneva, Reformation, 16th century. Man should be trained for war, and woman for the recreation of the warrior. Frederick Nietzsche. Last one. Freud's The Case of Dora, a case of hysteria. An older man, a friend of the family, suddenly clasped Dora to him and pressed a kiss upon her lips. This was surely just the situation to call up a feeling of sexual excitement in a girl of 14 who had never before been approached. But Dora had at that moment a violent feeling of disgust, tore herself free from the man and hurried past him toward the staircase. The behavior of this child was already completely, yes, entirely hysterical. burning time. The witch hunts began in the 13th century and peaked in the 16th, 17th, and 18th centuries. Estimates run in the millions of witches executed. Most were women, to the extent that in some villages in Germany, not one woman or girl was left alive. We were called witches, but we were women of the peasant working class. We were midwives, herbalists, healers. We were wise women, free-thinking women, single women, and widows with property. We were seen as the cause of any ill if there was too much rain for the fields or too little, if barns burned down, if horses ran away, if cream wouldn't churn to butter. The fears of the people could be channeled into the identification and elimination of witches and witchcraft among them. And what violation! A man could visit upon a woman or girl, himself the poor victim of the woman who had bewitched him. Hear me, I am the voice of the souls lost in the burning time. I am the voice of the original sinner, temptress, witch, hysteria. I am the voice of the women confined to asylums because of their hysteria. The Greek root word is hysteros, or uterus. Hear me. I am the voice of women around the world right at this moment. For as the United Nations report on the status of women reads, violence against women is a significant pattern in all countries of the globe. I am the voice of the oppressed, the silent voices in cultures that severely subjugate the feminine. I am the voice of the woman who lives next door to you and suffers domestic violence in silence, hoping no one will notice. Pray someone will. I stand before you and I call across the chasm of time, and I call across all space, and I join with you now in this room. Imagine that I can witness a room that is here filled with people to celebrate the goddess, the sacred feminine, a wise woman honoring. I call to you with a heart filled with joy, and I ask you to join with me, and together, let us close the book. Close the book on a paradigm that has limited all of us, men and women.